that's it.
Yeah. We are live here on the all-new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel, CHGO Sports. Appreciate everybody that's joined in. See a lot of the regulars in the live YouTube chat, including Vanilla Chill and Becky and Carter Hawkins. We have a Toyota Super Chat that we'll get to in a second. I saw Steven jumped in with that right away. A lot of people angry, notably during the game and, of course, always after the game, after the Cubs lose. I mean, there's not much to say about the offense. You went against a guy, Zach Littell, who they got from the Rays, his first start with the Reds. He goes 7 innings, 3 hits, 8 strikeouts, 1 run. And I was told the guy wasn't going to strike anybody out. That's what I was told. This guy can't strike anybody out. This guy gives up home runs.
The most home runs in baseball.
Most home runs in baseball. He looked like Cy Young out there.
For what it's worth, that total did go up by 1.
But to your point, what really kind of pissed me off from the jump was Michael Busch gets a leadoff single.
Yeah.
And he kind of did he kind of did that thing where I think he had a little extra juice as he looked into the dugout. And sometimes you're like, you can kind of feel when a team is struggling, and as fans, we're struggling, we're really frustrated, we want to see it. And you can kind of see him like try and juice up the guys in the dugout about like, let's go, time to turn the page, time to make everything happen. Ian Happ, who moved up in the lineup, I called for it last night. They moved him up to the 2 spot, walks on 4 straight pitches. I looked at you, Luke, and kind of said, all right, here we go a little bit.
First inning, 2 on, nobody out.
And then, Luke, what happened?
Tucker, PCA, and Castro. Strikeout.
My God.
Is that good?
No.
The game was almost over at that point.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was.
That's what it feels like. It's a 0-0 game feels like a 3-run deficit.
It's not great at all. And I all of a sudden now by the 5th or 6th inning, I'm doing this exercise where I'm pulling up, because we got this big 5-game series coming up against the Brewers, right? It's still going to loom large. We're 4 games back now. We probably need every single game in that series. We'll see how the rest of this week goes. But I'm like spiraling now, and I'm going to the game results from the 2003 season, right before they played the 5-game set against the Cardinals. Yeah. And they lost 9 of 13 games before they played that Cardinals 5-game series. They went on a run. They went deep into the playoffs in that 2003 year. But, what's going to turn it around? What is the catalyst? What is the problem? I mean, it's staring us right in the face because in many ways, the poster, the billboard for this offense and the big headliner, the marquee player that came in this year, Kyle Tucker, is also now the poster of a lot of these problems right now. And you can't run away from it. Kyle Tucker has been struggling. He's been slumping. And tonight he looked just flat out bad.
He looks broken.
He does. He's guessing. There are pitches that are 2 or 3 feet out of the zone that you could see his hands offering at. He is searching for it right now. He is struggling, and it's getting to the point where, honestly, I'm kind of praying that the dude's hurt. Because if the dude's hurt, at least we have some sort of version of excuse that would explain some of the numbers that he's posted since June 29th that, Patrick, you worked up and you pulled up, you'll hit in a second. But it's not good. It hasn't been good for a long stretch. And I don't even want to get into contract numbers right now. I just want to talk about the 2-3 hitter in the Cubs lineup doing something. And doing anything right now.
And if he is hurt, then he needs to do what Dansby should have done last year. Sit down.
Go on the injured list.
Sit down and go on the injured list.
10 days.
If that's what's going on.
Get the reset.
If it's not, then is it the pressure of a big contract? I don't know. It doesn't seem like he'd be that guy because nothing seemed to affect him. But this is a horror. 0 for 4 tonight, 3 strikeouts. 0 for 7 in the series, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk in the first 2 games. He has 1 home run in his last 100 at-bats.
That's not great.
I mean, Patrick, you got the line from
Since
June 29th?
End of June.
Yeah, which is 100 at-bats.
How
100
bad?
at-bat sample size, large sample now.
Since June 29th, his slash line is 210, batting average, 350 on base, 280 slug. So it's 630.
280 slug. So only the walks are only because of the walks is the on base thing good.
Yeah. And I think what also needs to be brought up in parallel with that is the fact that Seiya's is near identical.
Right. Seiya's numbers are, what are they?
206 batting, 309 on base, 374 slug. So a 683, so 53 points higher of an OPS.
And a K rate that's almost 29%.
28.5% K rate.
Yeah. And while we're getting Goodwill Hunting with the numbers here, Matt Shaw, since the All-Star break, has 5 home runs. PCA, Kyle Tucker, and Seiya Suzuki have 4 combined. Matt Shaw has more home runs than all of them combined. This isn't a mystery, right? It isn't a mystery. And the part about it is I think we did a pretty honest effort about trying to go through, like, how are we going to turn it around? What do they need to do to turn it around? But frankly, it is so obvious right now. And if they don't, Luke, I'm with you. This season can get lost really, really quickly. And all the goodwill that they've built up, Brewers aside, Red Hot Brewers aside, Cubs fans, forget about the Brewers for a while. I would stop watching. I would stop scoreboard watching for like a week. I would stop scoreboard watching for a week because we just got to control we can control right now, which is beating the Cincinnati Reds, and their acquisition, by the way, who pitched well, their deadline acquisition, and then eventually the St. Louis Cardinals. But this is just it's going bad, and it's going bad fast.
I joked about it in my newsletter this morning, and I joked about it last night on the show. I said, where's Joe Madden with the petting zoo when you need it? At some point, we do have to talk about what gets them out of this rut, because it doesn't seem like it's going to happen without some outside force.
Uh-oh.
It has to be
team meeting territory.
Joe Glenville used to go nuclear.
Yeah.
And he'd put Kane and Taves on the top line. Madden would sometimes have Rizzo lead off or Bryant lead off. I don't care what Craig Counsell does. He's the highest paid manager in baseball. Sitting Seiya was the right thing tonight. I don't know what you're going to do about Tucker. PCA struck out 2 more times tonight. Does it mean, has Tucker been bad enough that the only way Madden would have fixed him is be like, you know what? Screw it. He's batting leadoff tonight. Just go ahead and throw him at leadoff. What could be worse than what's happening right now?
Absolutely. And something
I know it makes no sense, which was why maybe that's the only thing that could work.
That does make sense, right?
I don't know what else to do.
Yeah. And I also wanted to make this point after the trade deadline, and we may have talked about it on that show too. By not trading your prized possessions in the minor leagues, is the nuclear option also, let's see what Owen Casey can provide you for a week, if it's at least a spark. I know that he's probably not going to contribute down the stretch right now. He's still a raw bat, and you don't know what he'd provide in the majors. Moises Ballesteros. He did provide for you, and then was sent right back down. You've got to figure out a way to get a spark to this team, and whatever that spark may be, it needs to happen in the next 48 hours.
But not to do a cross sports on you, but isn't that kind of like going no huddle shotgun down 20 points, like bringing up the kids in baseball, and just now we're trying to go against the prevent defense here, because I hear you that it could provide a spark. It could also submarine the team just way worse, and put honestly Owen Casey in a tough spot if he goes 1 for 12 in 3 or 4 games and you send him back down. What currency does that do? I mean, at this point, it is a little bit of the horses that you rode here with. I'm smelling team meeting time. Are we going to get that news? Right? Is that the whole the pablum of the team meeting?
I don't know. The whole thing with Tucker, if he's hurt, he's got to sit. He's got to sit at this point.
And by riding the horses that you've gotten here with, that's the exact mentality that got David Ross fired. It is. In that September and in the end of that year, it is what led to his dismissal and his replacement by Craig Counsell. You cannot manage and you cannot be an executive of this team and play it scared. And you have to make the big move at some point.
And the toughest part about all this, is we're putting a little bit of a cap on talking about the offense right now. We're just coming off of bounce back start for Matthew Boyd. And now it's been 2 starts for Shota, right? It's been 2 good starts after he had got roughed up by the White Sox. But bad start by Matthew Boyd, bad start by Shota Imanaga. You got a great start from Matthew Boyd last time. You lost that game. You got a damn good start from Shota Imanaga tonight. You lost that game. These are the games that you have to pick up and win if you're the Chicago Cubs. And 7 hits in 2 games. I mean, it ain't going to cut it. And Luke's losing faith. I can see it over there.
It ain't the cold beds. I'm losing sleep.
It ain't the cold beds.
Losing oxygen.
Yeah.
Oxygen. How would you what kind of paddles would you have to get out to shock the Cubs offense back into life right now? I want to know in the YouTube channel right now in the chat, how would you shock this offense back into life? How can you finally get them going in the final game of this series so that the Cubs don't get swept and fall further behind the Brewers? Let us know. In the meantime, we'll take a word for our sponsors. At Toyota's National Sales Event, they've got a long lineup of vehicles for summer fun. 4Runner's an off-road icon. Tundra hauls it all with its twin-turbo engine. And Tacoma takes adventure straight to the top. Want to ride with sizzling hot style and efficiency? The all-hybrid Camry is revving and ready to ride. Visit your local Chicagoland Toyota dealer right now or Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. What a beautiful time it is to be alive in Chicago. Even better if you're a CHGO diehard. Upgrade your fandom today. Get access to our exclusive written content, a free t-shirt, plenty of discounts on future merch and events, plus access to our CHGO Discord lounge where we all hang out. And go to allchgo.com for the latest information on how you can join thousands of diehards already in our community. We can't wait to connect with you on an even greater level.
And hey, Chicago Cubs fans, you already know it, but I'm just going to reiterate. Whatever the sport, whatever it is, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois is the high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service that you've come to know and love from Circa Sports. You can bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Got spreads, props, futures, in-game. Circa Sports has it all. I don't know, maybe there's a huge 5-game series, Cubs-Brewers coming up right now. Put a couple dollars away and go to Circa Sports to win big. You can fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. So here's what you got to do. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Remember, you must be 21 or older. If you have a gambling problem, you should call 1-800-GAMBLER. Circa Sports Illinois, the best, the brightest right now here in the state. Can't wait.
You can get better odds right now on PCA for MVP. Take advantage.
Now's the time.
All right, what would you do if you could get out the paddles and shock the Cubs offense back to life here? How would you do it? And, well, our answer here at CHGO is maybe we'll just have a takeover, right?
It's a great idea.
Time to get in the streets.
And we've doubled down on it. We have a Friday 120 Club special for the diehards coming up on Friday, which is Cubs and Pirates. And for the diehards that have signed up for it so far, it's all the food you can eat, all the drink you can handle, and we're at a rooftop, the one next to the firehouse. It's, I think, the only one not owned by the Cubs. It's going to be a good time. We'll start at Murphy's Bleachers for the pregame, but we've doubled it up. It's twice as tasty. Double the joy. We'll be going to one of those Brewers games on Monday, too, the second game. So you get 2 rooftop experiences for the price of 1. You get the Friday game against the Pirates, and then you get the night game of the doubleheader against the Brewers, which right now, sweeping the Brewers at home seems like the only way you're going to catch the Brewers. Honestly, like, survive until then, and then somehow, miraculously, everybody gets hot when they face the Brewers. That's about the only hope you have.
Or the juice just to save the season, right? I mean,
that's
you
it.
know, if you want to get into mojo, momentum, and you're talking about Brewers and the voodoo, I mean, like, literally, they need that paddle jolt right there. Doing it against the Brewers would be huge. I will definitely be there on Monday. Come watch me eat a hot dog without a napkin. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll all be there. Everyone will take pictures. I do have an idea, though, and I want to get the chat, and I want your guys' help. The chat needs to help on this,
No,
too.
we want you to change your underwear before then.
Yeah, please. So here's my pitch. Here's my pitch for Kyle Tucker, all right? And don't get snarky, because I want to try and help.
So snarky.
No. I want to try and help Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker needs to get sent a movie marathon of movies that are going to change his mindset. I'm thinking like how Stella got her groove back.
The Natural?
The Natural's a great one. Remember, what was the Superman movie where he had kryptonite and tried to be a normal guy and he got slung across the diner and he bled for the first time? And he had to
Superman?
I think it might be Superman or Superman 2.
Well, it's one of the Supermans.
It's one of the Superman. One of the Supermen, I should say. We need to create like a movie playlist here that we're going to send to him to literally get Kyle Tucker's groove back.
Probably a Star Wars scene where the Ewoks take over and really come through. That's probably one of them.
Ewoks take over, get through. I'm thinking something where Rocky, maybe I think the Russia training montage scene out there. There's got to be something here.
We can do it.
Angels in the outfield. Hey, you know what? If Jed had traded for a couple of Angels at the deadline, I think we'd actually be in pretty good shape right now.
Sure.
I think we'd be doing pretty good.
If Danny Glover was managing this team, where would they be right now?
Worst manager in any movie of all time.
Terrible.
But we got to start getting something here where we got to get the mindset right. We got to get the mentality right. That is my first offering of how we are going to paddle this team and get them, literally. And the opposite of Flatliners, the movie. If you haven't seen that, shout out to that. Tommy Boy, that's a great one. A good laugh. Rookie of the year. Okay, well, we don't want Kyle Tucker to get hurt.
Bees.
They're sting crazy. You allergic to bees?
Just
Me
release
too.
some bees in the clubhouse.
Sandlot, Emperor's
Tommy
New
want
Groove.
wingy?
Sarah, do we have some Toyota super chats?
You want wingy?
We sure do. Steven for $2 says Jed's extension jinxed this team. F you, Jed.
That's a little
Another
harsh.
$2 from Steven. The Cubs might have to put Tucker on the IL soon. That's what I'm saying. If that's what's going on. If it's not, then I don't know what to do. Another one from Steven. Steven going with the $2 tonight. 246. Jed should hire private security for him and his family. Now that's
too far.
That's way
Steven,
too far.
we
Steven.
were going to take that
We're
one
not
back.
going to. That's not even something we should joke about.
No,
because this is just baseball, and let's take that
Just a
back.
game.
They do play tomorrow.
We don't want that also as evidence, please. So take that down. I shouldn't have even read it, but Ron Burgundy reads.
Ron
what he
Burgundy
sees.
did that one. I was looking at you to see if you would.
I didn't catch it. Matt McIntyre, a $1.99 super chat. F this team. They're done. No facet doing its job.
We're doing
So
our job.
we're feeling good.
As expected, a lot of positivity, but let's not make this personal.
I feel like we're
Let's
doing
not
our
make
job.
this personal.
It's
They've
not-
lost a series to the Reds. They almost lost a series to the O's. And I asked before the break, how would you shock this team, specifically this offense, back to life? How would you do it? The majority of things that I saw in the live YouTube chat were, well, there were a lot of DFAs on there, of course. But the majority of them were bring up Casey, bring up Mo Baller. Who was the other one they wanted brought up? Mo Baller and Casey were the first two.
Offensively, yeah.
Bring them up.
was another name.
Shock this team. Bring up all the young guys. What did
I
And-
suggest tonight? I went scorched earth.
What
You
did
said Jackson
I
Wiggins.
said bring up Jackson Wiggins.
Yeah.
That's not going to help the offense, though.
Nope.
They can still lose 1-0.
I hear what
You
you're
know what I
saying,
mean?
and I'm not dismissing it. Bring up Casey. Bring up Ballesteros. But it sort of feels like when the Cubs said, hey, we need a spark. This is it. We got to call up Merton.
Mervis.
We got to call up Mash Mervis. Well, Merton, too. We got to call up Mash Mervis. Bring him up. Everybody wants it. That's the only thing that could spark this team is a Mervis hot streak. And it didn't work. And what happened today?
Matt Mervis was released by the Miami Marlins.
So let's not wish that on any of the upcoming Cubs prospects. But we all wanted Mash Mervis to spark the Cubs. It turned out to be a disaster, and now he's a free agent.
This is a great point. Mash Mervis is now available to come
Oh,
back.
wait a minute.
And save the Cubs
That's
lineup.
it, sure.
Swooping
We need
in.
another lefty bat, right?
What's the sound of horse hooves on Addison? It's Matt Mervis riding to the rescue. You know what's funny about this too is that like this is going to trend a little bit into like sports cliche territory, but I don't think we have this conversation enough when we talk offensively. Who are the leaders on this team? Right? Like honestly, I'm being real. Like who do you think? Who do you think the leaders are on this team? And I'm curious if we can identify them. Are they necessarily proportionately tied to being able to create the production that we're going to need to turn this team around?
No, it's by committee. It's by committee. I don't think they have a specific one person that's leader. Dansby is a leader. Happ is a leader. I think Tucker has been a quiet leader and trying to do it with his play on the field, which is difficult,
right?
Obviously, right now.
Their leader's
I
out.
think Justin Turner is a leader because he's been there and done that. But, yeah, they don't have, like, one alpha male that stands in the middle of the room and is like, this guy is our leader. That
Their
doesn't
leader
exist.
is out.
You met Justin Steele. You mentioned him last night.
Yeah.
Do we need to
Maybe.
bring him? I mean, we're grasping at straws because we desperately want this team to figure it out. And if they aren't grasping at straws and trying to do the whole whatever it is, look in the mirror type stuff and trying to figure out what it is going to take to at least get back to baseline. This is not even baseline right now for this Cubs offense. You have to at least try and get back.
They baselined. They flatlined.
Flatlined. Yeah, that is a baseline, to be very fair. But again, like at some point, I get it, not a ton of vocal guys. But who is there a Justin Steele type character? It certainly isn't PCA, right? He's too young, probably hasn't earned it. Kyle Tucker, probably the quiet leader, the guy who's supposed to lead by example. The example sucks right now, unfortunately. Seiya, probably not him. Michael Busch still trying to make his way. I would say
it's Happett, Dansby, it's Turner.
Yeah,
it's those three guys, and even for the folks that say Steele, it's very difficult for a starting pitcher to be the leader of a team because he only plays every 5 days. Yeah. Not that that's not a big deal, but it's just more difficult than an everyday player. It's got to be an everyday player.
I would still expect to stand up on the
sure,
stand up,
absolutely. I was saying the other day, when's somebody going to throw a glove down? We have a ton of super chats to get to. I did see somebody asking before we get to the super chat saying, why doesn't Counsell get any blame? Listen, Counsell's getting some blame.
Yeah.
Counsell's getting some blame. The Brewers don't seem to be missing him. And he doesn't seem to have any answers. The only thing I would say in his defense is, well, he can't force these guys to hit. They're not hitting. He has tried moving guys all over the place. He's tried sitting guys on certain days. Nothing seems to be working, although we were told that he was going to be able to fix a lot of things. So let's get to some of these Toyota Super Chats. Matt McIntyre for $1.99 says, Ricketts is now Reinsdorf with a little more money. Ryan Grossnickel says for $2, the Cubs have lost their identity. What was that identity is a good question after this. Steven for $2, the lack of invest in pitching is glaring. FU Jet again.
Steven, chill out, man.
We don't have to go with the FUs, and we don't have to threaten anybody's family. Ryan says for $2 more, need an FU mentality person, maybe a Stroman or a Rizzo. Listen, Rizzo is not riding in to save this team. Marcus Stroman is definitely not riding in to save this team.
And think about all of your jobs out there. Would you really want someone to walk into your workplace on day one and start barking and yelling? It has to come. That is what you did, and it worked very poorly. But no, look, man, let's just again, like, we're talking sports here. We're trying to figure it out. I know Rizzo, Cubs legend. I know Marcus Stroman. For my money, I enjoyed what he did on the Cubs. I enjoyed the Stro show for the most part. But, like, again, human beings, human dynamic. This is still a clubhouse. Anthony Rizzo isn't just walking in there day one and saying, hey, we're changing everything right now and expecting everyone on that roster to just get on board. I'm sorry, it's just not really like how life works. This has to come from within. So I'm just sort of asking my question that when times get tough, who is the person maybe on the phone talking to some of these guys being like, hey, let's just keep riding it out. Let's just try and stay stable. I think you're right with Ian Happ. And I'm not saying it needs to be some sort of vocal thing, but there has to be some sort of, like, everyone just band together right now. Because let's be honest, as Cubs fans, we're scattering a little bit, right? We're running for the hills a little bit. I'm hoping that this Cubs team isn't doing that. And if they are, this is going to get worse very, very quickly. But it's fair to ask the question, who is leading the charge a little bit? Who is trying to course correct and hopefully get somebody on the right page? And we've talked about it before. It doesn't have to be Tucker, Seiya, and PCA at the same time.
No, you want it just to be your $40 million manager. That's who you really want that person to be.
Maybe that's it.
You want it at this point, if it's not one of those guys, and I don't think those personalities are necessarily in that clubhouse, and I'm not saying that's a big problem. You paid the guy the most money to be the highest paid manager in all of baseball. Counsell's got to be the guy to figure it out. He's got to know exactly what to say and find some way to fix these guys. And again, if Tucker's
proverbial
hurt,
petting
he's
zoo.
got to make him sit.
Yeah.
If that's what's going on. If it's not, he's got to say whatever's got to be said to get that guy straight. The amazing thing is that everybody is slumping at the same time. And I sort of thought that wouldn't happen with the way they were playing early in the season because they had so many different ways of scoring runs. And all of a sudden now it's like, if they don't homer, it's it. And you know what? They're not homering. I say it's bad. How bad is it? We'll tell you after the break. A first word from our sponsors. Monarch Money. It's more than your average budgeting app. Monarch Money is a complete financial command center for your accounts, your investments, and your goals. Don't just manage your money. Start building wealth with 50% off your first year for our listeners. Ever wonder where all your money is going each month? How much you spent on all those deliveries? Are your stocks the right stocks? With all your accounts, credit cards, and investments in one place, you're now able to know where your money stands without the hassle. Track your spending, savings, and investments. Named Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025. Financial stress, one of the top reasons relationships fall apart, and Monarch Money can make those money conversations easier. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use the code CHGO at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com when you use the code CHGO.
Just like your favorite team needs a home field advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've all been to those big box stores. They might have a flooring department, but the person helping you with flooring may have been doing sinks yesterday and could be stocking light bulbs tomorrow. With Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. So you can schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code CHGO. Yes, you heard right. A $350 discount with code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. 800-588-2300.
Empire
Today.
Almost.
Cubs lose 5-1 to Cincinnati. Back-to-back losses to the Reds. Yeah, the Brewers lost again. Before the break, I said, it's bad. It's real bad. How bad is it, Stuckey? Well, in exactly 1 month, from July 5th to August 5th, the Cubs went from 4 games up on the Brewers to 4 games down to the Brewers. That's what we've done in 1 month. A 4-game lead on Milwaukee to looking up on a 4-game deficit to the Brewers. In 1 month, that's how fast it has completely flipped on this Cubs team. I saw people on Twitter saying, well, I know how so-and-so felt in 1969. No, it's not comparable to that. That was like a 9.5-game lead in mid-August.
Yeah.
Mid-August. But as far as current day, this is a pretty epic implosion so far. I see T from the 203 with a Toyota Super Chat said, Jed Hoyer sucked without Theo in San Diego. Now he sucks without Theo. He BLOWS. Well, Jed Hoyer did talk today. We're going to talk about that in a second. But we're also going to play a game of good bets, bad bets. Because what happened before the game was they officially put their big trade deadline acquisition, Michael Soroka, on the 15-day injured list, right?
Yep.
Shoulder injury that they confirmed. He had the MRI before the trade. I believe now at a trade deadline, you're not doing a full medical exchange. You're just exchanging medical reports. You're not putting a guy through a physical like you would in the offseason if you're signing him to a $300 million contract. That's not what's going on. But you are exchanging medicals on it. The Cubs certainly noticed that his velo was down 4 miles per hour almost in the last several starts. They noticed that had changed. He had the MRI. Nothing showed on the MRI. But you still have to take into account this guy has a laundry list of injuries in his career. Laundry list. And let's also not forget, he was like the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th best pitcher on the worst team in the history of baseball last year. But this is who they targeted. This is who they targeted when we said we need a 1 or a 2. We need somebody that can start one of the first 2 games in the playoffs. Jed saying before the game today, we felt like it was a good bet to make. Right now, it's not looking like a good bet. And then he said, if it doesn't work out, that's on me.
Well,
and the response I saw, which was correct all over Twitter, was, yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding. And I get it. He's trying to make that bet. But, man, you really tried to thread the needle on this one. I just do not understand it. And for the life of me, I cannot understand it. So good bets, bad bets. What's a good bet right now? A good bet that the Brewers are going to win the division? It's starting to look like it. 4-game lead. 4-game lead as you head into the final game. Try to avoid getting swept by the Reds at home. What's a bad bet? A bad bet probably is that you think all of the Cubs bats, Jed mentioned, hey, sooner or later these guys have to come out of this. A bad bet would be betting that all of these guys are going to come out of it. A better bet would be some of these guys aren't coming out of this. This is the way the second half of the season's going to go. Who's your most likely bet to come out of it? Right now, if you had to put money down and say, this guy will be the first one to snap out of it, will it be Seiya? Will it be PCA? Will it be Tucker? Will it be Happ?
It might be Happ because that's what he does, is the up and down and the streakiness of his game. Could be. I think if you're looking for the least likely to come out, Dansby Swanson. Is anyone else at least a little bit afraid about Pete Crow-Armstrong? You know, we talked about the second half regression being a likely thing for him, and he hasn't been as bad, I suppose, as Tucker and Suzuki in the last month, but he's not much better either. It's a tough conversation to have because it's tough to not be pessimistic based on the last month.
I'm going to go with, look, I'm going to ride it. I'm going to ride or die it. I think Kyle Tucker is probably the best bet to get out of this. The track record is there. It's not looking good right now. But again, if he does turn it around and he does get hot, I think there's few players in this lineup, in the Cubs lineup right now, that can get as hot as Kyle Tucker. So that's going to be my good bet right now. When we're talking about a bad bet, and also really quick, I do like Ian Happ a lot. I'm going to stand by that. Ian Happ, in my opinion, and the stats back it up, in August, historically, has had really good months. This is a good time for him to get streaky on the hot side of things. So I am going to stick with Ian Happ on this. I'm the bad bet is that I'm going to go kind of off the book here. I just don't think we've seen this lineup kind of get bounced around a little bit for the better part of about 2 or 3 weeks. And I just don't know for the life of me if Craig is ever going to really find that combination that's going to really work. We got Michael Busch white hot heading into the All-Star break. We moved him up to the leadoff spot. He's cooled off. We hit Carson Kelly in the cleanup spot from time to time. I've been very vocal about I don't really think that that's the best option. That's the best idea. Where do you hit Dansby? Hitting Dansby up in the order has been a problem for the first half of the year. He's in the back half. You know, what do you do with Nico Horner? That's probably my bad bet right now. My other bad bet, if I can, because everyone else on the planet right now is piling on Jed, is if you look at all these acquisitions, all these pitchers that they've acquired outside of Mike Soroka, they're being used in moments when the Cubs are losing games. Outside of the Kittredge performance, which was, I believe it was on Friday, we've seen Rodgers in multiple moments that are not really high leverage. We saw Kittredge tonight pitch in a game that I guess technically was tied 1-1. He blew the game. Are these guys really these guys are not being brought in to be difference makers, and I'm having a tough time seeing. I think it's a bad bet that Jed's thinking that these guys are coming in to be incremental improvements, to use his phrase.
Yes. You want a good bet? It's a pretty good bet. And we're only 5 games after the trade deadline. it's a pretty good bet that the Cubs didn't do enough at the trade deadline. Yeah. It's a pretty good bet that they held on to too many prospects. It's a pretty good bet that they didn't add anything. Willie Castro is a valuable player. It's a pretty good bet that they didn't do enough to add to the pitching staff. And it's a pretty good bet that they didn't add enough pump to this offense, enough bang to this offense.
They were slumping before the trade deadline. It's not like this was...
Exactly.
It's not like this is something that popped up on them.
Correct.
No, this is something that they knew about.
This was before
Correct.
the All-Star break.
And even before the trade deadline, I said, listen, it's Jed's job not only to fill the holes on this team so you've got a realistic chance to go do something, it's also his job to make some moves to cover you in case the unforeseen happens. You've got to sort of look into the future a little bit and say, well, if we got nicked up here, is there any plan that we can go to, whether that's AAA, whether that's AA, whether that's finding somebody out on a scrap heap, whatever it might be. They didn't do enough for the pitching. And Willie Castro helps fill some of those holes for if guys aren't doing their job. The one guy that we were worried like 3 weeks ago, Matt Shaw, is one of the few guys I'm not worried about right now.
He's the only guy actually hitting the ball right.
He's not even on the list of worries.
No.
The biggest thing the offense was worried about, he's now so far down the list of worries that it's incredible. He's not even on the list anymore. And the pitching staff, if you're going to sit and just wait for Tyone and Assad to come back, shame on you. Shame on you. They clearly did not do enough at the trade deadline. I don't care what the cost was. You didn't do enough.
The part that I can't wrap my head around is that I just feel like that there is always this kind of dichotomy going on with Jed Hoyer. And look, I see it in the chat, and it's getting rough out there, and people don't like Jed Hoyer. You cannot walk away from the fact that Jed Hoyer, in terms of just this year and why we got so excited about this season, has done some good things at times, right? Michael Busch is a good thing. PCA, whether in front of a microphone he says he kind of walked into it or not, it happened. It's on his resume. Kyle Tucker trade. We like it. Shota Imanaga. We got a good deal. Matthew Boyd. It's worked out. All that being said, though, the part that I can never understand, and we've talked about this in the offseason about why they never went after the big fish, is that for me is that if you are Jed Hoyer and you are Tom Ricketts, why aren't you trying to target more cost certainty? When you spend $1, you want to get that dollar back. I often feel like sometimes they take these gambles or these risks. They think that they can maybe extract $1.10 out of $1, and at times it has worked, and other times it has blown up in their face. And I don't have a problem with him taking those type of risks. My problem is that there is a consistency to how he often does those things over and over again, instead of, at this deadline specifically, paying the prices that maybe it would have taken in the market, as he said. And he also referenced the good bet and the bad bet in reference to what the market was, which was kind of a weird sideswipe at what was available on the market. And I promise you, there were better options than Mike Soroka out there. He continuously tries to...
There was one in town. There was one in town.
Adrian Hauser, better choice than Mike Soroka.
I know
Correct.
that he had a bad start last night.
But that's...
Who cares?
And where do you get... Just the certainty. I don't understand why you can't target certainty while also target the gamble and balance that out somehow and hope that you have yourself a product that maybe has a balance or maybe the one that exceeds those expectations.
I'm not trying to pile on Soroka. This isn't Soroka's fault. But if you think the good bet is the guy with an injury history that goes on forever, who was one of the average pitchers, actually bad pitchers based on just win-loss, but like on the worst team in history, and really you had to like skew into the numbers real tiny to find where he might be a good guy for a portion of the season.
Expected
this year,
ERA.
Before his miles per hour velo dropped 4 in the last like 5 starts. If that's the good bet for a deal that you went out and made, and he said better than the bet would have been made on some of the other guys we were looking at, who were the other guys they were looking at? What other pitcher were you? What other guys were you looking
doesn't
at?
compute. Yeah.
What list of trash were you looking at the trade deadline when we were thinking Mackenzie Gore was walking through the door, Ryan was walking through the door, Suarez was walking through the door? Who were you actually looking at?
The only way that I can possibly verbalize this is by saying, when we did the deadline show, we had a bad feeling that at some point we might say, okay, this might crash and burn, this might come back to haunt them. We didn't expect to be having this conversation 5 days after the deadline.
No.
Well, and what's most disappointing about it, I think also, as we're walking through this, is that common sense, the way this season was going, the way the offseason went with acquiring Kyle Tucker, the run differential, the offense, Matthew Boyd's an all-star. We're in first place. Head into the all-star break. Sure, fell apart a little bit, tied, heading into the all-star break. It all felt so natural that of all the moments, of all the circumstances, for Jed to go all in and kind of push his chips in the middle, and Suarez, Merrill Kelly, whatever it was, this situation seemed so ripe for it. And the fact that he didn't, I'm not going to sit here and just blame the fact that he didn't get some big bat for the way that the team is playing right now, but the way that the team is playing right now could have been fortified or stabilized by some of those players that he could have acquired. Those two things can be true at the same time.
All right, we have to take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. We'll get back to your super chats and tell us what makes you most angry right now in the chat. We'll be right back.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Hey, Cubs fans, we all know that moment, and I know that moment more than anybody else on the planet. It's that moment when you realize you've left your favorite sunglasses at the beach or on the roof of your car or at a gas station 3 states away. I have done all of those things. I have the bingo card to prove it. I don't even buy sunglasses anymore that are expensive because I will lose them until I found Shady Rays, and I changed the game. These sunglasses are made for real life, seriously good looking, polarized, durable, and not stupidly expensive. Now, here is the wild part. If you lose or break them, even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip, no replacements, no questions, just answers and shades back on the brim of your nose. So now I actually wear my sunglasses without fear on hikes, at concerts, on a boat, wherever. I am Tom Cruise wearing these sunglasses. Shady Rays is eyewear that hides your back, so here's what you got to do. Shady Rays is going to bring you an exclusive offer if you head to shadyrays.com and use CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try it for yourself. Rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Looking to buy, sell, trade, or rip open a pack of cards? Arena Club is changing the hobby with their transparent slab packs and no-fee auctions. You got to check out these slab packs. Arena Club makes it easy to collect the cards you love. I pulled a PCA last week in my slab pack. Solid gold, baby. Get authentic, graded cards instantly on Arena Club. Slab packs rip open a pack for as low as $25 and hit on a card that's worth tens of thousands of dollars possibly. It's the most trusted name in the game right now. Arena Club has one of 2 specialty drops per week on average. Specialty drops are normally 24 hours only. So right now, get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/CHGO. That's right. Use our code. Tell them we sent you. CHGO and get a slab pack. Cubs lose 5-1. They've lost back-to-back games to the Reds. More Toyota Super Chats. Steven says Kittredge tried to paint the corner, but when the ump didn't give him the call, his night was over. Yeah, to the tune of 4 earned runs. That was the number 2 pitcher you acquired at the trade deadline.
Sinkers up.
Ryan says for $2, Jed wants the next Moneyball movie to be about him. And T from the 203 with another Super Chat says, can someone tell me what's the budget that Ricketts gives to Jed and Carter? It's not as big as what some other teams are, but we were told that they were going to spend a bunch of money, and they still have spent more money than the Brewers, and for some reason they can't beat the Brewers. They can't catch the Brewers. They can't hold off the Brewers. I don't know what else to say about it. If you want to be more depressed about the whole thing,
I'd rather not.
I kind of do.
Okay.
Bring it on.
Speaking of bad money moves, did you notice that the NL MVP odds have been adjusted in Vegas and that Ohtani is now down to -700? PCA slumping is out of the number 2 spot.
Kyle Schwarber, number 2.
Kyle Schwarber.
Wow.
The great Schwarbino has climbed up to number 2 in the National League for MVP odds at plus 500. PCA down to plus 900. Machado at plus 4,000. And by the way, the super slumping Kyle Tucker is still 8th in odds in Vegas for National League MVP. But if you place that bet, you'd be getting plus 10,000 right now.
Those sound like some great odds.
The Schwarbs thing will never not kill me. It kills me every time I see it.
Yeah.
When he hit the grand slam last night, it was like a knife to the kidney. It just is. To watch, you want to know what makes me mad? Every time Schwarbs does something electric, it makes me a little mad. It makes me happy for him, and it makes me a little mad.
Someone made the
Craig
point.
says he's going to poop his pants.
Oh,
So here we are.
Thank you, Dean Pelton.
Here we are on August 5th.
Somebody made the point in the chat. They said that the Cubs are performing, or that earlier in the year they performed far above expectations, and that what they're doing right now is actually what they are. I don't think that that's true. I think that they performed above expectations in the early parts of the year. I think they're performing well below expectations, though, now. Because here's the thing that bugs me, and we talk about it in several sports. Oh, this is what the expectation was. This is what the expectation was at the beginning of the year. This is what it was in April. Expectations change. And when you get out to the start that you had in May and June, or in April and May, and then you taper off a little bit in June, and you fall off of a cliff in July, the expectation changed with the first 3 months of the year, in that you should be up in the division by several games at this point. And I know that Milwaukee got hot, and that they're the best team in baseball right now, and that the record reflects it. But at the same time, you expect more because that's what they've shown that they can do. So stop saying, well, they were performing far above expectations in the beginning of the year. That changed. It changed.
I'm gonna disagree with 2 people. Joe DiGiacomo is doing exactly what you're saying in the Toyota Super Chat. He said it's obvious that our expectations need to be lowered. It's not a World Series team. Nothing else matters, to be honest. And I sort of disagree with that, and I disagree with what you're saying. Here's the problem. The Cubs haven't been in the postseason since a fake 2020 season.
Yeah.
You've been losing and losing and losing, but you're the Chicago Cubs. And the lovable loser thing was wiped away with 3 straight trips to the NLCS and winning a World Series in 2016. You're the Cubs. My expectation is that you should dominate this division every single year, because you're still, even though you're being sort of cheap, you're greatly outspending the rest of the division. And you should be walking all over the Milwaukee Brewers and the Cardinals and the Pirates and the Reds. You ought to be the king of the division, and they all should be groveling at your feet. That should be the expectation every single year on the north side. That's what it should be. You should be the big dog on the block, and everybody should be afraid of you. You shouldn't be trying to thread the needle at the trade deadline by finding 3 middling relievers and a really nice role player. That shouldn't be the trade deadline. And I would love to know what the real reaction was inside that clubhouse among teammates and players who see it crumbling around them. They're trying to figure out a way out of it, and the team's response is, well, we got a little bubble gum for this hole, and we got a little peanut butter for this hole, and I got some Scotch tape for this hole, and go get them, fellas. That's what it feels like a little bit. And I can't believe that there aren't some players that are like, come on, man, we need help right now.
You don't want to hear your front office tell a scrum of beat reporters that the prices were too high, right? In some sort of way,
price for our success too much
is too much, and there's a part of it that he is speaking probably factually in terms of probably, I bet you, the numbers and analytics that they crunch in terms of value and all sorts of stuff, and Soroka expected performance and everything. But when you say that the prices were too high, you are also saying to the players in the clubhouse sometimes that I don't think you're worth it. I don't think you're worth maybe paying a little extra. I don't think you're maybe worth something that might take you over the top. This wasn't a situation, when we talk about at least the starting pitcher, this was not a situation where an acquired player, Merrill Kelly, would have been taking someone's job. Mm-hmm. Ben Brown was already in and out of the rotation. Jameson Taillon was already hurt. So it wasn't a situation where it was like, oh, we got this good guy here, this veteran guy who's really helped us out so far. We can't just go ahead and just take his spot like that just to get better at this one position. Right. And because the prices are so high. So in a weird way, like on the macro, we do what we do when we evaluate prospect value for what we're getting back in a transaction. But it also says to the team a little bit, you're not worth it. And I don't think that the team is directly feeling that right now. But in a weird way, to your point, as a player, I would maybe see that, and I would maybe feel a certain way about well, why not, and maybe curious to have an answer that you'll probably never get. But maybe as a player, you could be feeling that just a little bit.
Patrick, it also tells the fan base we don't think we can develop our own players at a rapid rate.
No.
Yep. 100%.
And we're not going to spend big money on free agents, so we got to hold on to the couple that we think are pretty good.
Well, we said several times since the deadline and during the deadline that, all right, well, at least the Brewers didn't really do much either. Yeah,
who cares?
The notoriously cheap Brewers. Thank goodness that they had a trade deadline on par with the Cubs. That's ridiculous. That's.
You're never going to get anywhere if you do a what about, them. Well, what about them? They didn't do anything either, so we should be able to get away.
Except for rank week. That was the one good one.
And you're fortifying Luke's point of it's the Chicago Cubs, it's the Milwaukee Brewers. I like Milwaukee as a city. No offense. I think this is the greatest city in the world. And being a Chicago Cubs fan is a beautiful, wonderful, right now, sickening, depressing experience. But you're right, man. We should be walking. It shouldn't be, can we win the division? It should be, why can't we get out of the first round?
That's why. Right? That's why you are the big guy in the division.
Yeah.
They can't afford to make the big deal at the trade deadline because they have to develop their own prospects to have any sort of chance because they're not going to sign the big money free agents. You're the big dog that should be able to do both. You ought to be able to get rid of prospects as much as you want because you're going to develop them anyways, and if that doesn't work, you're going to spend the money to replace the other guys. It should be a complete train of just running over the other teams in this division.
Other organizations are doing it too.
Well, look at the other moves that went around. Teams, the Padres, now they haven't won a World Series, but the Padres went out and got a closer when they already have a closer.
They traded like 14 of their top 30 prospects.
They traded the number 3 prospect in all of baseball.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different ways to look at it. It's just frustrating that in 1 month, from the 5th of July to the 5th of August, the Cubs have gone from 4 up to 4 down. 4 up to 4 down. And now you're counting on Cade Horton tomorrow to somehow pitch well enough, just like Shota did too. Shota did his job tonight. But even if Horton does his job tomorrow, like he has, he's probably only going 5 innings because you got to limit his pitches. You got to watch that. So we're going to get another look at this bullpen, which has been used heavily. And the offense better score some runs. If you have any hope of beating the Reds, you better score some runs. I saw somebody in the chat, we talked about shocking the offense with some paddles back into life. The latest one I saw was somebody said, hey, go ahead and reward Nico and Shaw, bat them 1-2. Honestly, I'm telling you, I don't care what lineup Counsell puts out there tomorrow. It might look like the most ridiculous thing. I don't care if he puts all kinds of crazy. I don't care if he goes and gets Vidal Brujan back and puts him out there. I don't care if he gets Kenta Maeda. I know they're not on the team.
I was going to say Patrick Wisdom on the flight right now, coming back.
Can we get Matt Mervis in here fast enough? Well, I'm also kidding.
The process,
please,
but I mean,
stop emailing me.
I know. I know we
got 1 minute left.
Yeah, we got 1 minute left. I was just going to say that, the process isn't working right now. So try something different. Try and get a breath of fresh air. For those Cubs fans out there that are going to stop watching this season, if you got to do that, you got to do that. But I'm not. We're going to be here tomorrow. There's plenty of good things still about this team. They got to turn it around. Not playing well right now. That's it. You just turn the page, and you wake up tomorrow and try and win.
If you got a weak heart, turn the set off.
Not me. I want the pain.
Or just binge eat like I've been doing.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Maybe we'll try that tomorrow. Maybe it's time for a donut rally. I don't know. Rally Rice Krispie treats.
Rally trough. Rally trough.
Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota and Bet365. Thanks to everybody in the chat, over 500 strong, the entire show. We appreciate you. Back tomorrow for a full hour after the game right here. Once again, Cubs lose 5-1, but they will try to avoid the sweep tomorrow. Either way, we'll be here to talk about it afterwards. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.